Yeah, well, he's in because his form justifies that. I think he's a slightly different type of player. It's really interesting when you look at our attacking players. They all have slightly different attributes, and depending on who we're playing and different moments of games, we could need those different approaches to unlock defences.
There's been so much speculation leading into this. We're finally here. What's your overriding feeling now you've announced your squad?
Well, it's always mixed at this point because I'm excited, of course, to be going to a World Cup. I've had some lovely moments with players that I'm taking to a World Cup, and I've had some really difficult conversations with players that aren't going. So I'm always mindful of that because I've been a player. I know how difficult that is. As a move past today, then focus will really be moving forward. It's a double-edged sword at this moment in time.
Is there a bit of relief that all the speculation is now out of the way and you can start to move forward?
Yeah, I think I would imagine if you spoke to international managers from the past, this period leading in where you're trying to make decisions, you're assessing medical reports, you're watching every match, you know that everything's got to go towards the end because I didn't want to call players who were playing last night ahead of those games. You've got to be respectful of their clubs. So yeah, they're weeks that take a lot of energy, and I will enjoy putting my feet up and maybe having a glass of wine tonight.
Obviously James Maddison is the big story. Obviously you said in your press comments, you've known for a couple of weeks that you wanted him to be involved as long as he was fit. Was it ever tempting to leak that a little bit just to get all that speculation out of the way? Because obviously clearly it's been a big debate of whether he should be or whether he shouldn't be, and ultimately why is he in the end?
Yeah, well, he's in because his form justifies that. I think he's a slightly different type of player. It's really interesting when you look at our attacking players. They all have slightly different attributes, and depending on who we're playing and different moments of games, we could need those different approaches to unlock defences. So in terms of leaking things, I've never done that over the period of time.
I was waiting for a text. It never came.
No, it's look. I said when I took the job, I've got lots of people who I've known for years who work in the media, and I think it's imperative that I treat everybody the same. It wouldn't be right to leak information, and also you just don't know what's going to happen with players, and especially the injury situation that we've had with the compact nature of the season and the intensity of the games. So yeah, we've had lots of meetings. You update every sort of Monday, Tuesday on the games you've watched. Where are we with the squad? What areas, what's the depth in certain positions, because in some we've had to go to number 3, number 4, we're pleased with the process we've been through. We think it's been thorough, and we like the balance of the squad.
There are obviously players who miss out, and you talked about those hard conversations. Ivan Toney is a name that is obviously going to come up as someone who has posted brilliant numbers, didn't get an opportunity on the pitch in September. Was it a straight shootout between Callum Wilson and Ivan? And how did Callum come out on top, if so?
Yeah, I mean, Tammy is obviously in that group as well because he's been with us for more of the more recent squads. Callum wasn't available for September, so that was one of the reasons we wanted to have a look at Ivan, because Callum has had injuries in the past. We still feel Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got so many good attributes as well, and unfortunately he's not able to stay fit. So there were a number of players in that mix. In the end, we feel that Callum's in a really good moment. His team are going well. That's helped. And he's been with us a little bit more before. We've seen him on the pitch with Ivan. We wanted to find out more about him last month, and he's done brilliantly to get himself in the frame, and now he's got to use that as a springboard to try and be available and get involved with England in the future. Is
that what you said to him on the phone? How did he take the news?
Yeah, well, he's a strong character, and he's a really solid guy, and he took it very well. I found him to be very, very mature, and that's as he reacted to that. I'm sure the disappointment was there, but I have to say he was really professional.
Me and Danny talked earlier about Conor Gallagher, didn't we?
Yep.
He wasn't actually in our 26, but you talked in the press conference there about the mentality that he had going back down to the 21s. And obviously he's been playing well for Chelsea when he has been on the pitch. But what is it about him that made you want to bring him out to Qatar?
Yeah, I think that we're going to have different stages of games where different profiles of players could be really important to us. The game is changing now with 5 substitutes. You've got to be ready for different circumstances in games, and you have got the opportunity to affect those games. He is when you talk about midfield players, I said in the main broadcast interviews that do they stop goals, do they create goals, do they score goals? And sometimes you can see players that are really pleasant on the eye that don't do any of those things. Conor actually does a bit of all of that. He regains the ball really well, probably presses as well as anybody in the league, and presses and actually wins the ball for you. He has chipped in with a lot of goals at Crystal Palace, and goals from open play, not set plays. And he does create goals. So he is a player that makes things happen. He's got a particular profile and areas of the pitch that I think he works at his best. But that might really work for us at certain moments of the tournament.
Defensively, obviously, there's been 1 or 2 issues. Obviously, Harry Maguire's in it. Do you have in your head a certain way that you want to play, or a certain formation that you're looking to play? I guess in the group stages, and then going forward after that. Because obviously, the Women's Euros played the same team throughout, and it was successful. Would that be an ideal scenario?
Yeah, I think if you know that you're the strongest team and you've got everybody available, and that's how you've developed, then that's fine. We've had a lot more upheaval, certainly injury-wise, and I think that I played for Terry Venables in '96. We were different system for every game, and it really worked. And I think the game now, most clubs, probably bar Manchester City and Arsenal at the moment, have to adapt. They have to change depending on the availability of their players, because certain players will suit certain roles better than others. And I think if you're at a club, you can recruit specifically to a system, but with us, we want to get our best players who are in form on the pitch in the positions where they do the most damage. And so I think we've got to have an element of flexibility to the way we go.
Just finally, Gareth, how confident are you that this group of 26, if it stays like that, fingers crossed we get through this weekend, which actually is part of this question, because how are you going to be watching the games this weekend and how are you going to feel? Is this group of 26 capable of taking England to a major final again?
Yeah, well, we've been to a major final, so we know that we're capable. I think now we're at that point where we should talk as a team less about what the ultimate goal is. We've got to focus on getting out the group now. In tournaments, if you look too far ahead, things can overtake you, and we've got 3 matches to get out the group. We've got to get the preparation for Iran spot on, and then you build into tournaments, and that's our experience of the last couple. So in terms of where I watch this weekend's games, I'm actually not going to the grounds because we're trying to sort of, COVID is still a slight issue, and we're trying to protect ourselves as much as we can on that. But we'll be watching everything. We've got a system where we can watch the non-televised games as well on our own channel. And we'll be across everything because we obviously need to still track the form of the players, and then we'll await the medical reports at the end of the afternoons.
You've obviously had some very difficult conversations with players and had to break people's hearts effectively. But I think for the wider public, how have those players that are in, how have they found out? Because back in my day, your day, it was often you found out when the manager announced it on the TV, or you might have got a fax come through to the football club. You mentioned the likes of Ben White, who you've not been able to speak to. How all the players that are in, how have they found out today?
Yeah, they get the club gets confirmation first, so it could be that their club manager has a chance to speak with them. They then do get a message from the FA because we're trying to organise pickups and logistics, and we've only got 72 hours before they have to meet, and we have to fly the day after they meet, so everything's got to be in place. So yeah, it's not as personal as you'd like it to be. It's a bit like when our caps come through the post. You know, you'd love to have a glamorous
I'm
evening.
still waiting for
where
a couple of mine, I think.
well, maybe they're in the cupboard downstairs. We'll have a look before you go.
I'll have a look on the way out.
Gathering dust.
So we, there's an ideal way that you'd like to do things, and then there's the realities of so many matches this midweek where I can't be talking to players 3 hours before they've got a match with their club. That wouldn't be appropriate. So you can't have all the conversations you'd like to. So you end up picking up the key ones, which for me are always the players that you aren't going to involve, because I think it's more important you speak personally to them than the rest, really.
Best of luck, Gareth. Enjoy that glass of wine tonight. You deserve it.
Thank you.
To see you in Qatar.
Look forward to it.
Thank
Cheers.
you.